Hello and welcome to Heart Space, formerly TJ in Your Mind, a poetry podcast with myself, TJ, and featuring every month a guest poet based right here in Berlin. We talk about poetry, love, life, and everything in between. So sit back, relax, and have a listen. This month, I get to welcome back another poet who was with us earlier in the season, and it is the wonderful, wonderful ZooeyFaust.
Sparkle therapy. Endless rounds of the rink, storing sparkles to light your web. Landing lights, that particular blue, the one that soothes as you break. Disco ball shards, they reflect as you paste them on. Eventually you are covered, including the spaces in between for flexibility. So you add a stream of gold to reconnect. Trying to glimmer, long silks reach out to snag any shards. If they falter and fail, never washed away and flailing just above the flames, yet never melt. Soot shines too. Shake time. Separate. Sorting time, where you store it in your brain. Now soar time, into dreams, free of tethers, should free zone, enter.
Okay, so once again, it is an absolute pleasure to welcome ZooeyFaust.
Hello. It is very good to be here again. Quite an honor.
No, it is my pleasure. What I always do, what I do with most of the artists that come is I don't read the poems they bring beforehand. I simply tell them which poem I'm using and for them to give me something. What went through your mind as you were writing that?
Always these hard questions.
I can't help it sometimes.
No, I'd like to think of the process possibly of, starting off at the, being a child with expectations and, going around the rink, doing what you do. And somewhere you're always in conflict between what sparkles you have and what the expectations are, and what sparkles you ought to be having. So, I don't know. I think it was a little bit of that process and the give and take of how to manage your sparkles. In a general form.
I like the use of the use of sparkle. What jumps out to me about that also is that another artist who came previously, she also spoke of sparkles. She said sparkle hunter.
Mm-hmm.
So as you
I
started,
loved when she said that. I never saw it. I heard that.
So as you started reading yours and it said sparkle therapy, I thought, oh yes, awesome, brilliant, more sparkles.
Yeah. When I heard her say sparkle hunter, I was so excited. I was like, oh, that's great. I had to talk to her.
Oh, you absolutely should, without a doubt. And I'm with you absolutely when it comes to reconciling expectations against your own. I mean, I'm a Brit, but I'm an African man, and we have clear expectations, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a case of how do you hear or see those expectations and still somehow stay true to yourself. How did you reconcile it?
I afraid that's an ongoing process that we're always in. But I do think that it's a process of trying to always recreate. And we have all somehow figured out that the past is always there, but also trying to let it be a stepping stone to create more sparkles, or more, a shard or a soot can also be a sparkle.
Yeah,
that
soot has color.
Yeah,
Soot shines too. That's
exactly.
I liked that. Soot shines too.
So it's really about the process of trying to not really rediscover, but repurpose possibly events that happen or experiences that happen, so you're not all out of light.
I was referring to the other lady who spoke of hunting sparkle. She spoke of how those who came before her have given her something with which she uses to propel herself, and then she will then give to further generations. And I liked that particular, that image. And I think it still fits in with the dreaming up a good life, shall we say,
Exactly. That's exactly what I thought of. Are we actively dreaming up that life, or are we just trying to, in retrospect, trying to recreate? I like that there are both different perspectives on it, Sometimes the dreams sometimes they get crushed, and then you have to say, wait, where are these pieces? Can I put them back together? And how will then I dream up the new life?
Indeed. And it's a case of, I think it roots down to figuring out exactly who you are within, whether it's within a specific identity or a chosen identity. What is it within? As I remember myself growing up, I remember saying, I want to be a doctor, I want to be this as I grew up. And then in the end I was none of those. But you know what's really funny? On the day that I graduated from my undergrad in music, my mother told me that when I was young, I told her I was going to be a singer and a dancer.
Long before the expectations of being a doctor or an engineer or whatever.
None of that was in my head, and she said, you told me you were going to do this. And I think I was about 3 or 4 when I told her this, and I was early 30s when I graduated from my undergrad, and she said, you said you were going to be this. I was like, I think the term is mind blown.
But I do think that if people listen to the children and let them follow the path that they feel and they sense in the beginning, they probably will develop into their space without all the crushing and the breaking. So it would be nice if if the children can keep on with their wishes at the time.
I think yes to that as well, but I think also some of us have to deal with those so that we can show others that, look, it is possible. We have to be broken down and built back up so that others can see, look, this person does understand where I'm coming from. They're speaking from a place of knowledge, not just from,
experience to transfer is really important. But I think we possibly need to be a little bit more careful for the people, and not so strict sometimes that you can't find a path and create the path as you're growing. You don't always have to be forced into something and then break out of it to get back to yourself. That seems like a lot of time of the person's life that maybe could be experienced in a more giving, caring way, So I don't know. I think it's both, give and take, and depending on every person has their spaces and their processes and their trials. Berlin, how you doing?
Oh, rather.
But always present.
Without a shadow of a doubt. But I think I'm definitely with you on that. I think it's a case of I always come back to finding out who I am, and if I know who I am, then I can battle whatever. I can decide, okay, this thing that you're offering me is wonderful, it's beautiful, I appreciate it, but that's not for me. That's not the path that I wish to follow. It took me a while to realize that, that's not the path that I wish to follow. And the thing is, once I found it, there was no deviating. When things went wrong within that, I didn't stop and say, okay, I'm going to stop this and go to something else. No, I kept on it because I knew this is what I wanted.
Your space, yeah.
I met a lot of people at university who, undergrads like myself, who started with one thing and switched halfway through because it's not for them. And I think sometimes having that bit of life experience behind you before you go to, whether it be university, whatever it is, before you go, could be very handy. This was exceptionally helpful for me.
Yes, absolutely. You're testing out different perspectives, seeing where you fit, where you belong, what you're interested in. One of my friends said she changed her major in college 7 times, and she found that was a very interesting experience and got her to where she didn't plan to go, but was very happy she ended up. So we just, what you said before, just keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. You kind of have to.
Yeah, and people recreate and change jobs and change wishes, but they keep going.
What in your, I know it's not the best question to ask, but what in your opinion is a good life to dream up? I know, not the best question to
Good. One that you are comfortable in, that you're pleased to wake up and go to sleep in. One where you have people around you who see you, and where you can exchange with others, give and take. And like, there was this man when I was walking here, some of these people when I encountered walking here, and this man, and he was sitting there eating with these people, and it was clear that he was not seen at the dinner, and he was just looking around, looking for where can I engage, where can I interact, and I don't know, maybe he was 85 or something, and he was always like, okay, we don't want to waste time, we want to talk to people, we want to exchange, we want to experience. And it was also kind of like, yeah, we want to be happy with the people and learning, always creating new space, new people. I imagine it's always going to keep changing, right? I think we're taught to have this expected pathway, and that's what it is, and you check these boxes, and then you're done with life. And that's not particularly the way it is for everyone.
No.
That might lead the people to be very unfulfilled. So try to just keep finding new spaces to engage in.
New spaces to engage in. I like the sound of that. I must admit, there are points when, even as a freelance musician, the first few years when I moved here, things seemed, I don't want to say comfortable, but they seemed, now when I look at it, they were stagnant. I think at the time I didn't realize that they were stagnant. They seemed, every weekend I was always traveling to a gig or whatnot, but it was the same again and again and again, the same, singing some of the same material. And there was something, it was like leaving one bit of stagnation for another. I left a full-time job where there were some great parts of, the job that I left. But I wasn't living in that just to do the same thing in another field. So, what is wrong here?
Especially in a creative space, that seems a shame.
So I was glad to have been able to change that and upend a few things. Corona helped. You know, as bad as it was, as horrendous as it was, it did help to upend my life and to reconstruct it in a way that is more conducive to, you know, to what I want. When I left my job at the UK at my university, I was working full time, but I had no time to write, whether it be poetry, whether it be songs, no rehearsing with band, no time. Great job, you know, events management, doing things here and there, awesome, but no time.
They are also late.
Exactly, you know, and so I left so that I can do this, only to do the exact same thing. You know, and then when Corona came about and everything was upended, then it gave me the chance to, okay, yes, it was stressful, a few very stressful years, very, very challenging, but now I've been able to put it back together in a way where I'm doing my own creative stuff, writing, you know, with my band, writing our own stuff, and we're doing gigs with that. Wow. And of course, I have HertzWellen, you know, the podcast, the
Sounds like a lot.
The poetry group, and then of course my singing gigs. So there are different things going on, which is great, and a whole different level of challenge.
Sounds like a very shiny disco ball. I like your disco ball. I mean, you piece that together in your experience. You're putting it back together to shine the way you are.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great success, you know, and then you're always putting more on and creating new light. Because you share with all those around you.
Yeah.
When you're sharing with me, you're sharing with everyone in the group, all the band, and I love a good gig. It's really fun to see your gigs. So, but you're bringing joy to people, and a lot of times people forget to find or experience joy. Everyone's so busy. They're like, wait, we all know that song from the 80s. Let's dance to that. You know, like, who would have think we forget to dance? So it's really good you bring the people to that in themselves, so they go home and think, okay, what's going on with my shards here? You know, where am I? What am I going to glue on next? Yeah, but it helps. We all need to be reminded, because we're expected to be so busy and so focused on managing money that we forget to be happy.
Everything else. Exactly. But no, I think I'm absolutely with you on that. That I love that I've managed to create this with a heck of a lot of help. But I'm so grateful that I've managed to do that, and it's helping to keep me afloat. When I say afloat, I mean alive.
Of course.
And keep the heart beating, and keep the songs.
And not functioning. You mean the opposite of functioning.
Yeah.
Really experiencing and living and sharing.
Yes. Not simply existing, but actually living.
Right.
It has its challenges, you know, which is to be expected. But one thing that came to mind while I was dealing with some of the recent, you know, issues within the HertzWellen group is that this is what I asked for. I may not have asked for that specifically, but I did ask for this, where I'm with people, living with, dealing with, it's people.
Whatever that brings,
That is all that's in there. And of course, it then meant I have to reach into myself and say, okay, how do I manage this to keep this thing that I want, to keep this thing alive? So, okay, this is what I need to do. This is how. These are things that I need to learn. And someone asked me recently, she said, so what did you learn from this? And at the back of my mind, I was like, I love that there is a chance for someone to ask, what did you learn from this thing that happened? I love it, because there are too many life, as you said about being busy, there's just so much going on. And there's no time to sit back and say, okay, hold on a second, what did I learn? What did I learn here? How am I going to use this thing that I learned? And
that's what we are collecting, is knowledge and experience. But even a little disruption is also very nice, because you just mentioned that energy, working, forgetting to. Yesterday I thought, okay, I'll take a break from all that I was preparing for yesterday, and I was walking down the street listening to a comedian, and I was actually just taken aback and just started laughing out loud, and I forgot, I was like, this is street thing,
Yeah.
And then the people around me were really, they were shocked. They were like, what? We don't laugh on the street. What's happening? And then they looked at me. And then they were taken back. They looked at me strange. And then they all both went, oh, I want to be laughing too.
Exactly.
Like, it was really this multitude of moments in one. And they were like, oh. And then someone would smile and be like, oh, go for it. It was just really very funny, because you really keep a lot of these things private when we're listening to audio all the time in the street or doing things alone, and we should forget to share the laughter, so that from what we're learning, everybody learned different things from the event. So we just keep going and keep practicing how to create new space for ourselves and others.
Absolutely. So on that note, dear ZooeyFaust, what final word would you give to our listeners?
Keep collecting sparkles, and keep paying attention to where you want to put them back on, and enjoy.
Oh, wonderful. I love that. Keep collecting sparkles. Thank you ever so much. It has been a pleasure.
It was all mine. Thank you. So if you're interested in hearing any more from ZooeyFaust, you can reach out to my Instagram, or you could also check on Bandcamp or Spotify for the Wellen albums. That this is also recorded on the latest album from Wellen, WELLEN, and it's called HertzWellen, and it is from DJ Daniel Paul and DJ Trike. So thank you and enjoy.
Dream up a good life, so the bard says, a life lived far from shore, no matter what else plays, a life filled with wonder, a life filled with joy, a life filled with adventure. Dream up a good life. You are the master of your own destiny, and the captain of your own ship. So dream up a good life. Sail past familiar shores. Keep a firm hold of the oars. Think not on keeping score, and dream up a good life. Forget the edicts, forget the pressure. Think not too much on what came before. Dream up a life filled with hearts on fire, that reach to all around for others to inspire. Dream up a life that causes ripples profound, that dazzles and puzzles and simply astounds. Dream up a life that lifts all around you, that encourages and grows you, no matter what surrounds you. Dream up a life that caresses the ether, that always breathes life and learns from the old teacher. Dream up a good life, so the bard says, a life lived far from shore, no matter what else plays. Thank you for joining us on HeartSpace. It is always a pleasure to have you with us. We will return in a month with another special guest. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this poem, it, as well as a number of others, is available in my latest poetry compilation book, Perfectly Imperfect, available as a Kindle download or in print via Amazon and all major online retailers. And of course, we can be found on Instagram at @heartspace_Wellen. We meet fairly regularly in person right here, so feel free to come join us. We'd love to welcome you. Once again, thank you for listening.